Should we get it started?
I think we should rock and roll.
Get things going?
Absolutely.
All right, should we? I don't hear anything. I don't know if everybody left. There you go. A little more. Okay, good. All right, well, this next comedian we have is, well, the first comedian actually, is a very talented comedian. Has opened for Charlie Berens. I don't know. At first I thought they were calling attention to me. The hands were raising. I was like, no, this is not like a quiz. You don't have to say her name. I'll tell you. So up next we have a very talented comedian, Tracy Schroeder. Welcome everybody. Welcome Tracy Schroeder.
Going for Dan and AJ, everybody. Or is it Dave? Dave. Sorry, Dave. I was so close. I remembered the D. I did. Dave. I love you, Dave. There he goes. Oh, great. It's good to be here. How you guys doing? Good. Come on, Anago. How you guys doing? Good. Awesome. I'm so excited to be in insert city name. I just found out, this is kind of cool, I just found out after the show I get to perform for our troops next month. Thank you. My son's Boy Scout troops. Let's hope they get the sex jokes. Kidding, they're 5, of course there will. Oh, I'm excited for tax time. I just did my taxes today. Are you guys done with that? No, it sucks. It really does. This is the first time I actually did my taxes by myself. I'm like, how hard can it be, really? Like, all my friends are like, Tracy, just do them by yourself. And I'm like, I will. So I'm now getting $350,000 back. So I just need a tax advisor that's not afraid of prison. Anybody in the house? No? I just had a birthday last month, too. That's fun, huh? Anybody celebrate anything tonight besides this fantastic group over there? What are you celebrating?
Laura.
Birthday. How old, Laura? You have no idea, do you? I get it. That's what happens after 30. We forget. No, I just turned 45. 45, thank you. But it's weird, like women, we lie about our age all the time, don't we? Like men could care. They could care less. You know, like you, sir, how old are you?
29.
Holy shit, you look fucking 12. Just saying, you look really good. Like genetically, you're aging very well. I'd love to have what's in your genes. I'm kidding. Is that your wife?
It is.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, Lord. Like I said, I just turned 45. It's tough, though. It's tough getting older as a woman. You know, it really is. Like, men don't hit on me anymore, which kind of sucks. And the type of men that do hit on me now are the same type of underwear I wear. They're usually high and wasted. It's not fun. Not fun at all. Oh, it's tough, though. And you know what I think is the hardest part is the fact that my parents are getting older now. Right? Like my parents are in their 70s and I don't have any grandparents left anymore. They all died like 20 years ago. Unless I need a couple days off work, then they miraculously come back to life. But then they die again. My sister has a really hard time with death. She does. She called me the other day. She's like, hey, Tracy. She's like, guess who's 95 today? Guess who's 95? I'm like, I don't really know a lot of 95-year-olds, but who? She's like, Grandpa Joe. He's 95 today. I was like, wow, that's great. Grandpa Joe's been dead for over 20 years. I'm pretty sure they don't age anymore, and we have birthdays. She's like, why do you have to be so negative all the time? She's like, I baked him a cake. I'm like, well, let's just hope he doesn't show up. Because that would be awkward for everybody. So I called her the next day and I'm like, hey, Dawn. I'm like, guess who's 210 today? Guess who's 210? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, Abraham Lincoln. 210 today. I bought him a helmet. And some tickets to see a better play. I'm glad some of you guys got that. This guy's going, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, you guys are fun. So I've been doing comedy for about 15 years now. It's working out really well. I'm in a bowling alley in Anago. You guys are fun though, I love it. I love it. But when I first started out, I was really cute. Don't laugh at that, sir. I was. And people would say really ridiculous things to me, like when I first started out, some guys like, Tracy, women are not funny. I'm like, what? I'm like, hello, Ellen, like she's hysterical, right? He's like, well, she's technically not a woman. I'm like, that's a crappy thing to say. Like, she's my favorite. I love her. And he's like, well, if you like being on stage so much, he's like, why don't you start out being a stripper? What? I'm like, that is the rudest thing I've ever heard. So I told Mom what Dad said. She was really pissed. I told that joke a couple weeks ago. My dad came to see me for one of the first times, and he's like, Tracy, he's like, you can't tell that joke anymore. He's like, I would never say that about you. He's like, you clearly are not hot enough or young enough to be a stripper. Oh, and I'm like, you clearly have never been to the UP. Or to Texas Jays. I don't know, I've never been there. I just saw that coming in. I'm like, oh, that's a strip joint with a big badger. I didn't understand the correlation. I have no idea what that even means. Like a big beaver, maybe, but not a fucking badger. So my boyfriend and I just recently broke up. Aw, you're in luck. Just kidding. He broke up with me over text message. He texts me and he's like, hey, you know what, this isn't really working out. He's like, I don't like the fact that you're always gone, you're always traveling, and I never see you, and I hate your family. Especially your husband and kids. Which is weird because he's never met them. My husband actually loves that joke. Because he thinks it's a joke. Oh, did you guys hear about this? This is kind of crazy. I was watching the news the other day, and there is a guy who went into an abandoned house to smoke weed, and he ran into a tiger. Did you guys hear that? Like a tiger, like a caged tiger. Like, how high do you think he thought he was? Like, I don't even have a joke for that. I just think that's fantastic. Because I've never been that high. Like, ever. Like, I've been maybe like llama in cage high. But never like tiger in cage high. Like, that's weird. So I do a lot of driving, I do a lot of traveling with this job, and I've developed some really bad habits on the road. Like, I like doing this thing where I like hitting on men at gas stations. I know, it's a little weird. Hear me out. I was in Milwaukee a couple weeks ago, and I saw this rather attractive guy pumping gas. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go work my magic and see if I still have it. And he turns around, it's a true story, and he's wearing a sweatshirt that says, I love dick. I'm like, this isn't gonna go as well as planned. But I'm not a quitter. So I walked up to him anyways, and I'm like, hey, looks like you and I have something in common right off the bat. He didn't laugh like you guys. I think he said something like, go to hell. I'm like, in some religions, I'll see you there. I actually have 3 brothers. 2 of them are gay. What are the odds? But I love them very dearly. Like, I love them better than my heterosexual brother. But my brother, the gay brother, he's like, you know what, Tracy? He goes, you can't go around saying the F word anymore. He goes, it's politically incorrect to say the word fag. He goes, you can't do that. And I was like, well, I don't do that. He goes, even though we called each other that as kids, It wasn't being malicious or anything. He goes, tell you what, he goes, calling me that word now is like me calling you the C word. And I was like, that doesn't bother me at all. I've been called far worse than a cougar. Oh, I don't even know how much time I'm doing. Gosh. So I just got back from a tour of Alabama on purpose. So that was fun. They're probably just getting my jokes now, which you guys are actually smart. So, but after one of my shows, some guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, funny lady," he goes, I liked your show. He goes, I'm gonna ask you something. He goes, how many tornadoes do you think I've been in? And I was like, I don't know, being the fact that you're pronouncing tornadoes as tornadoes, I'm assuming a couple. He's like, I've been in 7 tornadoes. He's like, what does that tell you? Like, what does that tell you? I'm like, it tells me you're not smart enough to fucking move. After talking to this guy for about 20 minutes, I realized that tornadoes are God's way of dealing with natural selection. Because if you think about it, like, tornadoes don't hit like the Vatican or churches and universities, but it'll wipe the shit out of a trailer park in Alabama in 2.2 seconds flat. There's actually been documentation of a tornado bypassing a trailer park and turning back around to get it. It's like, oops, I forgot about you. It's like God's way of bowling for rednecks. Oh, good Lord. So I'm trying to diet by round of applause. How many people are trying to diet for their New Year's resolution? You liars. Really? It's Wisconsin. Of course we're trying to diet. I know. I made it like 5 days. I did. I made it 5 days. Like, I used to run marathons. Well, not like marathons. I used to run like half marathons. I mean, not really like half marathons, like 5Ks. Okay, like one time I did the turkey trot because I found out there was a free pumpkin pie at the end. Don't judge me. But I did. But you know what? My husband bought me a Fitbit for my birthday, which nothing screams I love you chubby like getting a Fitbit you didn't ask for. So I confronted him. I'm like, hey, this is a really crappy gift. I'm like, you could have got me flowers, you could have got me chocolates. I'm like, really, a Fitbit? He's like, well, honey, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for us. I'm like, well, let's just hope he enjoys his penis pump for his birthday. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for us. He's white. Oh, Lord. So I've been married for a really long time. By round of applause, how many people are married? Awesome. How many people are single? See, notice the energy level difference. That's what I'm saying. I'm married for 5 years. 5 whole years. Like, it's fun. Like, anybody been married more than 10 years? More than 15? More than 20? More than 30? Holy cow, more than 40 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're right. To yourself, sir? That doesn't count. That does not count. There's always one smartass in the bunch. How long have you guys been married?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. So it's still new, it's still fresh, right? Like, what would you suggest to, like, an up-and-coming married couple? Like, what would you say to them to make a marriage last longer?
Don't fucking do it.
Okay, well that's... You're a ventriloquist, apparently. Ma'am, are you married? The one that just said that? Yeah? Not anymore. I get it. So what would you tell them? Like, what do you think the key is to a happy marriage?
He should just listen to me.
He should just listen to you? This is Wisconsin. I get it. I totally get it. Just listen. That's true. That's true. Like my husband and I actually, we've married for 5 years, and I think the key is honesty. You know what I mean? Like honesty and trust. You know, and keeping things spicy. Like, I do. I think that. Like, my husband and I actually played a game the other day. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. You guys can play if you want. It's called the Hall Pass game. And what you do is you can name 3 people if you ever met. They could be past, present, dead, alive. If you ever met and had the chance to sleep with, your significant other would have to be on board with it. And my husband's like, do you want to play this game? And I'm like, let's do it. So he's like, all right. I said, well, who's your 3 first? Let's do you first. And he's like, all right. He goes, my first one would be Eva Mendes. I'm like, okay. Britney Spears. I'm like, okay. And my third one would be Aaron Rodgers. I was like, excuse me? I'm like, obviously one of these made me question my entire marriage. I'm like, Britney Spears? Like, she's freaking nuts. Like, who would pick her? Really? He's like, all right, smarty pants. He's like, who would your 3 be? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't like sit around and think about how to cheat on you. I mean, I don't, think about 1986 Val Kilmer Top Gun beach volleyball scene. He's spiking the ball over the net. He dives. He's got dog tapes on. Highway to the danger zone is playing him back. That would be number 1. Number 2 would probably be Paul Walker. Right? Yeah, ladies are like, woo! And number 3 would probably be just Brad. And my husband's like, yeah, everybody loves Brad Pitt. I'm like, no, Brad, the next door neighbor who just moved in. And now we're moving. Oh, keep it spicy. That's what I'm saying. I sometimes miss being single. Like, I do. I miss being single. But, like, I don't miss the upkeep of being single. Do you know what I mean? Like going on dates and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of work involved in that. Right, ladies? Right, single ladies? Like the waxing and the plucking and oh my gosh. Like my husband's just lucky there's not crumbs of toilet paper down there. Sometimes there is. Or as I refer to it as clitty litter. All right, you guys have been a fantastic crowd. Thank you so much. My name is Tracy Schroeder. Follow me on social networks.
Guys, keep it going. Let's hear it again for Tracy Schroeder. What an amazing job. So funny.
That was funny.
Sometimes when people talk about certain things, like they'll tell a joke about something and they'll say, oh my God, too soon. So I think Tracy's told the only joke, the one about Abraham Lincoln, where I was like, Tracy, too late. Too late to save Abe. I've never done that before. It was great.